Before I open the panel, I want to invite someone really special. I want to invite Roxy Azari. She is a spoken word artist, and Roxy is an Iranian-American poet, performer, and an educator who combines the passion for art with a vibrant activism. Roxy, I hope you can wake up this room.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, so my name is Roxanna Azari. I'm a poet with Create 2030, which is an initiative that engages with artists, initiating with the SDGs. And so this piece was written actually as it was inspired by the research that we're here speaking about today. There are 1.8 billion young people in the world. That's 1.8 billion understandings of conflict, 1.8 billion advances towards peace. Yet we still all live like we have this planet on lease, like we are not interwoven with future generations, like our wars were never something our youth were born into, foregoing that oppressive systems are inherited, hand-me-downs of an othering narrative, pigeonholing our youth born into conflict, naming him savage, uncivilized, violent, naming her oppressed, victim, silent, naming them uncompliant, as if one general brush is vibrant enough to capture an entire generation without bias, as if this framework isn't already rooted in violence. Exclusion is still exclusion even when it's done in silence. Our youth are demanding your alliance. Born and bred into systematic hate, yet so many young people continue to create change makers, peace builders, leaders of glory. So why is it that we rarely hear these stories? I know a young woman who created a soccer team in a town where girls were forbidden to play. We call them helpless. Heard of youth creating apps to make civilians feel safe. We call them violent. Seen young people educate others on power, conflict, and rape. We call them silent. Seen youth feeding 12,000 families. We call them savages. Seen women leading revolutions, revising educational institutions while tackling supremacy at its roots. Seen young people organizing systematic reboots. Seen youth reduce violence while organizing their communities to have their basic needs met. Living as examples. Despite facing systemic violence as a daily threat, we call them dreamers. Why do we not hear these stories? These are active civic engagement leaders in their communities, but instead we hear oppressed, we hear violent, we hear savages, and policy panic our ways into initiatives that benefit from these narratives. How can we continue to create policies without speaking to those they affect? Superimpose views without gathering intellect. Don't patronize our youth for losing faith in systems that were never intended to protect them. This is more than number counts on your desk ends. These are young people's lives. If they can die for their countries, they should also be able to fight alive. Exclusion is still exclusion, even when it's done in silence. How we frame these problems plays a huge part in this violence. We have active civic engagements fighting for conflict cease. It's about time we stop treating our young people as the problem, as opposed to partners for peace. Thank you.